Of all the games shown off at Summer Games Fest, none quite caught my attention like Beast of Reincarnation. The game features a stunning and beautiful female protagonist named Emma, as well as her wolf companion named Ko. And the visuals of this game are absolutely stunning. And although this game is gorgeous, the trailer made it abundantly clear that this game is loaded with performance issues. Seriously, it seems like some portions of this trailer were running at like 15 frames per second. And when you consider the game's developer, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, I am talking about GameFreak. Yes, that GameFreak. The same GameFreak that's responsible for the Pokemon series. The same one that has fans complaining about just how lackluster, and let's just be brutally honest here, horrendously ugly at times the Pokemon games of late can often be. It was shocking to fans, and there is so much discourse around why they can't make better looking Pokemon games. I mean, after all, it is the largest grossing media franchise in existence, and so you would think that money is not the issue here. And now we have an objective measure to show that the studio is more than capable enough. When the next Pokemon game shows graphical flaws, it'll be easy to point to this game and say, Game Freak, we know you can do better. With the advent of this game, there is simply no more denying that. This game absolutely validates all of those complaints in my book. Granted, other Nintendo games like the Xenoblade series already showed what they could have done on the hardware they were working with. It's much more likely that this is a consequence of them wanting to rush releases. Fans are hoping that if this game is successful, it'll also have a positive impact on the Pokemon series as well. Hey, I really doubt it, but the optimism is appreciated. The game was originally teased all the way back in 2023 as Project Bloom. At the time, all we saw of the game was a single piece of concept art. Interestingly, the publisher of this game is a Western publisher. Initially, in 2023, the publisher was listed as Private Division, publishing label under the Take-Two umbrella, publishing titles like The Outer Worlds, with the head of Private Division saying, quote, "We're ready to help Game Freak unleash their potential, and we're honored to be the first Western publisher to work alongside this exceptionally talented and proven team to bring a bold new IP to the market." However, if you look at the publisher now, it'll be listed as Fictions Inc. Fictions is formerly Private Division. However, back in 2024, when Take-Two was doing a ton of layoffs, they were sold to an undisclosed buyer. All of which is to say that the current Beast of Reincarnation has nothing to do with Take-Two anymore. Ultimately, this is by far the most ambitious non-Pokemon game that Game Freak has ever worked on. And, if I'm not mistaken, the first major console RPG that they've made without Nintendo. When the game was first revealed, there was a lot of discussion on if this was a hack and slash or if it was a Soulslike. It's worth noting that the PlayStation official Twitter calls it a Soulslike. And I know a lot of you have Souls fatigue, and I'm here to tell you that you're wrong, and this game still looks awesome. It is right up my alley. The first thing I remember when I first saw it was that it reminded me of Sekiro, and that is one of my favorite action games of all time, if not number one, so I immediately was locked into this. It also reminds me of another Sekiro-inspired game that I'm a huge fan of, Stellar Blade, a game that is finally arriving on PC. And thanks to our sponsor Instant Gaming, you can get a Steam code for Stellar Blade for only $52. It is currently going for $60 on Steam's official storefront. Instant Gaming is an authorized code reseller that brings you games at a heavily discounted price. And with the price of games going up, this is one way to keep games affordable for you. They also allow the channel to give away a free game of your choice every month. So be sure to check out Instant Gaming with a link in the description and pinned comment below. Despite the game being closer to a Souls-like, it does seem to have a little bit of hack and slash sauce in some of its moves. That being said, there is a clear emphasis on timing, dodging, blocking, and parrying rather than stringing together combos. What I'm most curious about is Ko, our wolf companion. Because this game isn't a hack and slash, it's doubtful to me that he'll function anything like Final Fantasy XVI's Torgal. His main function is a combo extender, and though I do believe he'll have some sort of tag team move or assisted attack, I think it will function and feel fairly different. And also, as a wolf, he could potentially be good at things like enemy detection and travel assistance. I just hope that this poor dog does not die at the end of the game, a very common trope for any type of partner animal. This game is said to be an RPG, but currently we don't have any exact details on what type of progression systems that it has. But I will say, I hope they let us level up the dog. I know sometimes I call him a dog, sometimes I call him a wolf, whatever, man. Thus far, one thing in particular that I am loving about this game is the enemy design. Everything from big beasts to these mechanical enemies, everything is looking incredibly fun to fight, with attack patterns that look incredibly interesting to deal with. As far as the game's story goes, it seems like it has a fascinating setup, with the Steam synopsis saying, quote, "In post-apocalyptic Japan, a land ruined by corruption and crawling monstrous beasts, humanity's last hope may rest with Emma, an outcast cursed as a blighted one, and Ko, her loyal canine companion. Survive a journey across an ominous, ever-changing world where dangerous forests can erupt in the wasteland. As Emma and Ko push deeper into the unknown, their bond strengthens, and with it, strange powers bloom. Explore what it means to be human in Beast of Reincarnation, an expansive one-person, one-dog action RPG built around demanding technical combat. What awaits at Journey's End?" Although the most pressing story question that I have so far that has not been answered anywhere, and that I must know immediately right now, and that is, who is she? Chat, I promise you this is strictly for lore reasons that I need to know who this is immediately. Now, as I've likely looped this trailer 1,000 times while editing this video, because we only have this minute-and-a-half footage of the game so far, you probably, again, have noticed that the optimization for this game is absolutely terrible. I don't know if it's because, this is the console version and thus far it is poorly optimized. They just didn't get the footage from a PC version running at 60 frames or more, or this is just GameFreak common terrible optimization, or more likely this, that, and the other. However, I was able to use a frame interpolator to show you what the game would look like if it were running at 60 frames per second. And as you can plainly see, this is an immediate night and day difference. Despite the footage being uploaded at the original 60 frames per second, it's doubtful that many of these scenes ever even reach a full 30. Hopefully Game Freak will have this straightened out by launch, especially considering that this game is launching next year. However, considering this studio's track record on that exact thing, it's kind of a coin toss. Though hopefully the PC version will be able to at least brute force a nice 60 frames per second. And that leads to one of the more surprising things about this game. Nintendo owns about 1/3 of Game Freak, but despite that, it seems like Beast of Reincarnation is actually not coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, but it looks like an Xbox or a PS5 or whatever they recorded this gameplay footage on cannot even handle this game, so I find it doubtful that the Switch 2, regardless of how powerful it may be next to its predecessor, would be able to successfully run this game. But in total, this game is looking absolutely incredible, and if you're excited for it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as this is going to be one of the games that I cover going forward on the channel, and is one of my most anticipated games of next year. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.